Welcome to Code with Patrick, Introduction to Java course. And we're on week one, and today we're definitely going to be learning a lot about Java. We're going to be starting out with the outline. And right here we can see we got about Java. That's the first thing we're going to be learning, okay? And then we move down to Java language specification. Right here you have to know what are the specifications of Java, okay? And the next thing we're going to be learning is API, and then we move down to additions of Java, and then we wrap it up with the IDE. All of this you have to know in week one. Without taking much time, let's get started. Right, about Java. Java, created by James Gosling and Sun Microsystem in 1995, is a versatile language known for its platform independence. It's revolutionized software development with its write once, run anywhere capability, making it a cornerstone of web and enterprise application. Write once, run anywhere definitely means that Java programs runs on its own, it's independent, it can run in any system. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why Java is powerful. All right, so the key course of things that you need to know in here about Java are: Java was purchased later by Oracle in 2010. So a company actually named Oracle purchased Java from James Gosling and Sun Microsoft in the year 2010. And general purpose and powerful programming language. Java is general purpose. You can use Java for a lot of stuff. You can use it for web development. You can use it for mobile and a lot of stuff. So it's very powerful. It's a powerful language. And then it is also used in developing software that runs on mobile, desktop, and on servers as well. So you can see Java right here. It's like an amazing programming language. And without taking much time, this is just the wrap up of what you really basically need to know about Java. Let's get to the next item. Alright, let's look at the Java language specification. Whenever we talk about Java language specification, we really want to think about the syntax and the semantics of Java, okay? Don't worry about it. We're gonna be explaining everything, right, so you can understand it. And right here we have every language actually has rules, right? That's clear. To write English language, we need to follow some rules like grammar, verb rules and some other rules like that. And same thing applies right here in Java. You must follow syntax and semantic rules for you to be able to write a successful Java program. Alright, so here I'm gonna give you an example. Right here, when we look at this, we can see an example right here. This is me. This is D is me. D is me. Does that even sound correct? No, it doesn't. This is a grammar error in English, right? So let's come down here and look at Java code. Looking at Java code, system.out print line, we have the semicolon right there, and we have the hello world. This is a syntax error. You know why? You're gonna be learning this in a little bit, of course, in the upper classes coming in. And right here you can see the semicolon. It's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to be at the end of the closing bracket. Okay, so that's a syntax error. So you can look at it too. This is me. I'm sorry, D is me, which is grammatically wrong. It's supposed to be like this is me, not D is me. It doesn't even make sense, right? So now that's basically what syntax error is, making errors in programming, Java programming. And when we come down, we can see another example down here. We're trying to illustrate what semantic error is, and here we have come now home. Let's check the next line. It says intent. Okay, intent, which is like the intention of this person. Sometimes you can be writing stuff and you just make some kind of mistake. Perhaps you're rushing and you're trying to get it done faster, and the intention of this person that wrote this particular sentence is to write come home now, right? But then he wrote come now home, and the output is gonna get is come now home. Simple as that. So let's take a look at the system.out of print line, and then someone is saying, hey, the time is 8 o'clock p.m. all right, and he's saying good morning Yoko. It's 8 o'clock p.m. right, and he's saying good morning Yoko. That doesn't even make sense, right? So the result for semantic error, your code is going to run very fine, all right, nothing is going to happen, but you're not going to get that correct result, and you're not going to get a expected result, right? So that's how semantic error surfaces, and that's how it works. So now you know the difference between syntax error and semantic error. Syntax error is the one that basically you have to really remove something, and you must put in something, which is like the semicolon right there is in the wrong position, and or maybe it's not even there at all, and we're supposed to put it at the end of the code, because here's what it is in Java. Every line of code, this is a takeaway, okay, in Java every line of code ends with a semicolon. Do not forget this. This is what you're going to be using all the time. Do not forget that in Java, every semicolon, every line of code ends with a semicolon. So right here we got a semicolon in the wrong place, or maybe we don't even have it at all. We're still going to have a syntax error. So you have to really remember that for sure. But for semantic error, the code is going to run fine, but it's just that your intent, it's not going to come out the way you want it because of the input you actually have right there. So that's it for Java language specification, syntax and semantic of Java. So let's just get to the next item. Alright, here we are, API. What is API? Application Programming Interface. Alright, that's what API is. So whenever you see or whenever you hear me say API, just know I'm talking about Application Programming Interface. Alright, this is also called you can also call it library. That's fine, that's simple. It's not really the big way. You can just say, hey, I got this library right here, or this is the library I'm working with, or you can say this is the API I'm working with, whichever one it is. That is fine, but you need to know that API stands for Application Programming Interface, and this contains predefined code that we can use to develop programs, Java programs, right? So let's just explain further. So this will make it easier for us to write code faster, because we don't have to write code from scratch. So let me use a real life example to give you an explanation of this. Alright, so think about you going to get what do we call it, we're going to get rice, right? And you want to cook rice. So rice is actually getting from plants, right? And there are people who have really done the work of bringing it out from the farm, removing the dirt, and trying to put them together, make it look beautiful, and put them in a bag. So all you need to do right now is, when you get the rice, you don't need to go into the farm. You already have the rice. You don't need to go into the farm to plug it up and get some stuff, remove the sand. You don't need to go through all that process anymore, right? All you need to do is just basically get the rice and boom, start cooking it. So think of it that way. That's what API does. It's already predefined code, alright? It has been written already, so that programmers don't have to really start writing the code from scratch. You just need to start writing from there, okay? So that makes it so much easier and faster to write a lot of code, because sometimes when you want to start writing from scratch, it's gonna take a very long time to get some stuff done. So most of the time we make use of APIs, or we make use of library, whichever one you want to call it, to just make our code faster, and make it basically we avoid basically just starting from scratch. Just start from where we got the code and what we really want to do with it. Okay, so that's it for API. We're going down to the next item on the list. Alright, so let's talk about the editions of Java. Okay, there are three main edition of Java. Okay, so the very first one we've got right here is Java Standard Edition. Okay, we can just call it in a short form. Usually when you see Java SE, the SE stands for standard edition. Okay, don't get confused. So this edition is used to develop applications that runs on desktop. Okay, so whenever we want to develop applications that runs on desktop, we're definitely gonna go for standard edition of Java. Okay, and the second one is Java Enterprise Edition. Usually you denote it with Java EE. Okay, whenever you see Java EE, we're talking about Enterprise Edition. Okay, and this edition is used to develop server-side server-side applications and stuff like that. So wherever we want to develop server-side program or software, we have to make use of Enterprise Edition, okay, of Java. And the very last one we got right here is the Java Microsoft Edition, okay, which is Java Me. This is kind of the one we use to develop mobile devices, and the edition is used to develop application for mobile devices. Basically, that's what it's used for. And wherever you see Java ME, which is Java Me, just know we're talking about micro edition of Java. And Java SE will be used for this course. That's what we're going to be using for this course. And definitely as we go, we're definitely going to understand, because we're going to be working on software. We're going to be working on programs that runs on your laptop, your desktop, put it that way. And we're going to be installing that in a minute, and just don't worry about it. And so we're going to be using Java SE for this course. And having said that, let's get to the next item. Alright, talking about JDK. What is JDK? JDK simply means Java Development Kit, okay? And these are a set of programs that enable us to, develop our program. These are set of programs that enables us to develop our program. So both JRE and JDK contains JVM, okay? That means that in JRE, which is our Java Runtime Environment, and in JDK, which is our Java Development Kit, the both of them contains JVM. And the reason why the both of them contains this is because we really need them, right? This is our Java Development Kit, and this is actually what makes it possible for Java to really just run through in any computer, because it's independence, and that's what it is. And that's why when you watch the next item right here, it says JVM executes our programs on different computers, and that's what it is. Java's independence, it is made possible because we have JVM in JDK and JRE. all right, so Java's independence, of course, as you can see on the last item right there, it runs on its own on different machines. Okay, so that's it for that part, and moving down to next. Alright, let's talk about IDE, okay? What is IDE? You may ask. It's right here in front of you. Integrated Development Environment, okay? So this is a software that enables us to do a couple of things that you're seeing on your screen right now. It enables us to write, enable us to compile, it enables us to debug, it enables us to build, enable us to run, so to write our code, which is source code, Java Development Environment, Java Integrated Development Environment basically helps us to give us the space to write our code, so that we can just have something, being able to program, give us the the background of where we can write our code and get our job done. Okay, and the second thing it does for us is to compile our code. It compiles our codes to machine code, a code that the computer understands better. Okay, so after we finish writing our code, the IDE takes the code and combine them into binaries and stuff that the computer can understand, and then brings the result back, take the result and convert everything and bring the result back to us. Okay, that's what the compilation process actually does. Alright, another thing the IDE does for us here is to debug our code, to find error in our code. So sometimes if you make mistakes, semantic error, syntax error, whichever the case may be, alright, when you make mistake and you try to run your code, we you're gonna be seeing that a lot. Okay, so don't worry, we're gonna get there. But for right now, what you need to know is that the IDE also helps us to find the code. So when it gets to the point where there's error, what it does is basically it just pulls up the results and tell you, hey, usually in red font writing, and then you see the result, and then it tells you, hey, you're having an error sources of place, and this is what you need to correct, and this is what you need to do. All right, so it helps us with that, and it helps us with building our code as well. So it creates files. Created files are basically just converted by JVM, which is do you even remember the meaning of JVM? The full meaning of JVM, which is like Java Virtual Machine. Okay, that's what it is. So it creates files, and they can be converted. They are being converted by JVM, and then finally, when we run our code, it helps us to basically just execute our program, so we can see the result of what we basically have been doing. So let's say we write a code about a calculator, creating a calculator, or we write a code about printing up our name on the screen. Then this particular ID is going to help us to execute that program and give us exactly what we want based on what we've written. And that's it. And the examples of IDE are Eclipse, NetBeans, and IntelliJ IDE, and this is basically more Java IDE, where we can the IDE is where we can basically write Java codes, but these are just few. Okay, and the one we're gonna be using for this particular course is gonna be what? Eclipse. Right, so far we talked about Java, where we basically just went through just a summarization of what Java is and how it came about. And the next thing we'll learn is Java language specification, where we talked about the syntax, and we also talk about the semantic error you can face right in Java. And we have the API. Okay, so this is basically can be called library as well. You don't forget that. Okay, and then we also talked about editions of Java. Alright, this is what we discussed about Java, Java Me, which is micro Java. We talked about Java EE, Java Enterprise, and we talked about, Java for the workspace, the one we're definitely going to be using for this tutorial, for this course. And then we talked about IDE, which is just integrated development environment. Here we definitely going to be this particular IDE give us a space to code, a space where we can write our code, and it helps us to run, and it helps us to build, it helps us to do all this stuff. And I believe you actually getting a recap of what this week course and tutorial is talking about. And that's gonna be it for right now, and eventually we are going to talk about how you can set up your IDE so that we can start learning how to actually write the code right there. Alright, so I'll talk to you next week, and bye for now.